Good day everyone, I'm Teacher Justin, and for today, let's talk about solving quadratic equations using extraction. Now let's have this first item. Let's solve for the roots of this given quadratic equation. So we have x squared minus 36 is equal to 0. So para masagutan natin tong quadratic equation na to, we have to isolate the variable x. So first, let's remove the number negative 36. So tatanggalin natin yung negative 36 by adding both sides by 36. So gamit tayo ng addition property of equality. So add both sides by 36 so that we can cancel out negative 36 sa left side of the equation. So cancel out na natin yung 36. Tapos ang matitira na lang sa left side is x squared. Yung 0 plus 36, that will be equal to 36. Then, let's remove the exponent 2. So, para matanggal natin yung exponent na yan, we have to get the square root of both sides. So, getting the square root of both sides, so the square root of x squared is x, and the square root of 36 will be positive negative 6. So, take note, if we use the square root property wherein kinuha natin yung square root of both sides of the equation, we have to get both positive and negative roots. Kaya siya merong plus and minus na symbol. That will bring us the value of x, dalawa yung value of x natin, which is x is equal to negative 6 and positive 6. And that's it. Tada! Alright. Okay, let's have our second item. So let's solve for the roots of this given quadratic equation. 3x squared minus 75 is equal to 0. So let's solve for the value of x of this equation. In order for us to solve this, gagamit tayo ng extraction. So ibig sabihin ng extraction, we have to isolate the variable x in one side of the equation. So ililipat natin lahat ng numbers na nakapalibot kay variable x to the other side of the equation. So let's start first by removing negative 75. So let's remove negative 75 by transferring it to the other side, or we can apply the addition property of equality, which is we add 75 both sides of the equation. Okay, so let's simplify. So 3x squared will remain 3x squared. Negative 75 plus 75, that will give us 0. So we can just simply cancel it out. Tapos 0 plus 75, that will give us 75. Now, our next step is to remove the numerical coefficient of x squared. So, take note that the operation between 3 and x squared is multiplication. So, ang opposite ng multiplication is division. So, we have to divide both sides by 3 to eliminate the numerical coefficient 3 on one side of the equation. Okay, so ang matitira sa left side will be x squared. Ang matitira sa right side will be 75 divided by 3, which is 25. So ang equation natin, it will be x squared is equal to 25. Next, let's remove the exponent 2. So para matanggal natin yung exponent na 2, we have to get the square root of both sides. So we get the square root of x squared and the square root of 25, applying the square root property. So the square root of x squared is equal to x, and the square root of 25 will be equal to positive and negative 5. Now take note, if you apply the square root property, we will get both positive and negative roots. So our final answer will be x being equal to negative 5 and positive 5. And that's it. Ta-da! Alright. Okay, let's proceed to our third item. So let's solve for the roots of this given quadratic equation. 4x squared plus 13 is equal to 93. So para masagutan natin yung value of x na itong equation na to, we will apply extraction. So extraction is isolating the variable x in order for you to get the value of that variable. So simulan natin by removing the constant. So tanggalin muna natin tong si positive 13. So to remove positive 13, we will apply subtraction property of equality, wherein we will subtract both sides by 13. So, subtract natin. That will give us 4x squared. Tapos 13 minus 13, that will give us 0. 93 minus 13, that will give us 80. Okay, so yan yung equation na natin. Now, let's remove the numerical coefficient na 4. So, take note that the operation between 4 and x squared is multiplication. So, ang susunod natin na property na gagamitin para matanggal yung numerical coefficient is we have to divide both sides by the numerical coefficient. So, divide both sides by 4 para matanggal yung ating numerical coefficient na 4. So, ang matitira sa left side will be x squared. Then, let's divide 80 by 4. So, 80 divided by 4 will give us 20. So, we have x squared is equal to 20 as our equation. Now, tanggalin naman natin yung ating exponent na 2. So, to eliminate the exponent 2, we have to get the square root of both sides. So, kunin natin yung square root ni x squared. That will give us x. And yung square root ni 20. Now, take note that 20 is not a perfect square. So, if it is not a perfect square, we have to simplify it. So, isip tayo ng factors ni 20 na may perfect square. So, one of the factors of 20 na perfect square is 4. So, we can factor 20 as 4 times 5. Okay? So, sulat natin siya as square root of 4 times 5. Now, we get the square root of 4. Okay? So, the square root of 4 is 2. Positive, negative 2. Okay? And the square root of 5 will still be square root of 5. And also, since we apply the square root property, we get the square root of both sides, we need to get both positive and negative roots. Kaya tayo nagkaroon ng sagot na positive, negative 2 square root of 5. Now, let's write our final answer. So, the value of x, dalawa ulit yan. We have negative 2 square root of 5 and positive 2 square root of 5. And that's it. Tada! Alright. Okay, let's have our fourth item. Let's solve for the roots of this quadratic equation, negative 5x squared plus 26 is equal to negative 14. So, para ma-solve natin tong equation na to, okay, let's isolate the variable x by removing the constant and placing it to the other side of the equation by performing subtraction property wherein we will subtract both sides by 26. So, let's simplify. So, negative 5x squared will still be negative 5x squared. 26 minus 26, that will give us 0. And then, negative 14 minus 26, that will give us negative 40. Ang susunod natin gagawin is to remove the numerical coefficient of the variable x squared. So, tanggalin natin si negative 5 by dividing both sides by negative 5. Okay, so maka-cancel na si negative 5. It will give us x squared. Yung sa kabila naman, negative 40 divided by negative 5, that will give us 8. Then, ang susunod nating step will be removing the exponent 2. So, para matanggal si exponent na 2, we will get the square root of both sides, applying the square root property of equality. So, si square root of x squared, magiging x na lang. At yung square root of 8, take note that 8 is not a perfect square number. So, if the number is not a perfect square number, then we have to simplify the radical. So, simplify natin si square root of 8 by thinking of a number na factor ni 8 na perfect square. So, isip tayo ng number na perfect square factor ni 8. So, ang factors ni 8 na may perfect square is 4 times 2. So, let's factor 8 by getting its factor 4 times 2. Now, let's simplify this by getting the square root of 4 and square root of 2 separately. So, x will be equal to the square root of 4. So, the square root of 4 is 2. And the square root of 2 will still be square root of 2. Now, take note, since we apply the square root property, we have to get the positive and negative roots of that number. Kaya meron tayong positive, negative symbol. So, the value of x in this equation will be equal to negative 2 square root of 2, and 2 square root of 2. And that's it. Ta-da! Alright. Okay, let's proceed to our fifth item. Let's solve for the roots of this quadratic equation. The square quantity of x minus 3 is equal to 49. So, para masagutan natin tong equation na to, let's use extraction, wherein we isolate the variable x. So, sa equation na to, para matanggal natin yung, or para ma-isolate natin tong variable x na to, we have to eliminate the exponent. Kasi itong group na to, naka-raise to the power of 2. So, hindi natin malilipat si negative 3 pag meron tayong exponent na 2. Okay? So, let's remove the exponent 2 first by applying the square root property of equality, wherein we will get the square root of both sides. So, the square root of the squared quantity x minus 3 will be x minus 3. And the square root of 49 will be positive negative 7. Now, take note, we apply the square root property, so we have to get both positive and negative roots of the square root of 49. Okay, our next step, tatanggalin natin si negative 3. Okay, so tatanggalin natin tong negative 3 na to by applying the addition property. Kasi the operation between x and 3 is subtraction. So, para matanggal yan, we have to add both sides by 3. Okay, so let's simplify. So, ang matitira sa left side will be x. So, negative 3 plus 3 will be 0. So, maka-cancel na siya. Tapos, itong positive negative 7 plus 3. Okay, let's write it as 3 plus minus 7. So, para hindi tayo malito. So, sulat natin siya as 3 plus minus 7. Now, take note that dalawa yung operation nila. Isang addition at isang subtraction. So, para makuha natin yung value ng x na hinahanap natin, we have to separate the two operation. Isang addition at isang subtraction. So, let's add first 3 and 7. So, the value of x, if we add 3 and 7, that will give us 10. Ayan. Then, ang next naman is let's subtract 3 and 7. 3 minus 7. So, ang sagot naman, pag nag-subtract tayo, 3 minus 7, that will give us negative 4. So, dalawang value of x yung makukuha natin. Isang positive 10 at isang negative 4. So, the value of x will be negative 4 and 10. And that's it. Tada! Alright. And that is it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have comments, questions, recommendations, suggestions for my next video, please leave them in our comment section below. Share this video and subscribe. And for more videos like this, you can go to my channel, Teacher Justin. And that is it for today. Again, I'm Teacher Justin. Goodbye, God bless, and stay safe. See you on my next video. Peace.